Hey there, this is Akshit Madan and welcome back to a new video. And in this video, we will be analyzing this dataset that is regarding Zomato Bangalore restaurants dataset, in which the information about the restaurants in Bangalore is given in different areas of Bangalore. And we will be applying the exploratory data analysis and visualization in this video. So if you are new on this channel, you can like my videos and subscribe to my channel. So first of all, let's go to my Kaggle kernel. The link of this kernel is given in the description. You can check that out. But my suggestion will be that you should code along with me. Right. So let's start analyzing this data set. So as usual, we have to first of all import the libraries pandas, numpy, matplotlib, seaborn, and I'm setting the theme of the plots as dark background. Let's run this cell. Now we have to read our CSV file. So our CSV file is present over here in Kaggle. And if you are using this Colab notebook or Jupyter notebook, then you can provide the path where your CSV file is present, right? So let's run it. So my CSV file will be imported and I will be able to see the first 5 rows using this df.head. So let's do it. So here are the first few rows of my data set, and I can see that it contains the URL, it contains the address, the name of that restaurant, then online order facility is there or not, then book table facility is there or not, then what is the rating, what are the votes, how many votes are given to this restaurant, like this, then phone number, location, then rest type like casual dining or cafe, like nightclub or drinking bar, like that, or cuisine, North Indian, Mughlai, then Chinese, what type of cuisine that restaurant offers. So this kind of data we are having, but there are many columns that we don't need, right? We can drop them. So first of all, before we move on to dropping of the columns, we have to first of all see how many rows are there and how many columns are there. So for that, I'm running df.shape. So I can see that 51,717 rows are there and 17 columns are there. So what are the different columns are there with me? So I can see I'm getting a list using this df.columns. I'm getting a list of all the columns. Now from this list, I can see that URL is not important for me. Then this address is not important for me. Then phone number of that restaurant is not important for me, right? Then this menu item may be important for me, could be important, but I can see that in this dataset it is like a empty list, right? So I can just drop it, right? So I'm dropping this menu item. Then dish liked is not important, and review list, right? So I'm dropping all these what we can say the columns from my dataset, and I'm going to work on the rest of the columns. So let's run it. Okay, we were having, so now all those columns which I had dropped are gone and I'm able to see all the rest of the columns. Perfect. Now let's run df.info. Now this df.info is going to provide me some information about my dataset, like how many non-null values are there, then what are the data types of that data present in that column, right? So we have covered this in many of my videos, right? So let's run it. And yes, so I can see that there are few null values in this in rate column, right? Because total 51,717 should be there, but in rate I'm having only 43,942, and in location also I'm having few null values. Then in rest type also null values are there, cuisines also null values are there. Then this approximately cost for 2 people also I'm having few null values. So we have to handle this null values also. So first of all, if there will be some duplicate rows in my dataset, I have to remove them, right? So for that, I'm running df.drop duplicates, and when I run the shape, I can see that now my updated shape is 51,609 rows. That means there were few duplicate values which are now removed, right? So we have covered this duplication part also. That means we have dropped the duplicate rows. Now let's start cleaning the each and every column, right? So first of all, I'm going to clean the rate column, right? So this rate column is there. Yes, I have to clean it because in this rate column, I can see that this by 5 is there. Now I don't want this by 5. I just want a simple float value like 4.1, 3.8, 3.7. I don't want this slash 5, and I don't know whether this complete row, complete column is containing only float values in this format or not. It may contain some string values, right? So when I was running So let's run this df at rate.unique, which is going to provide me some unique values, which are the values which are unique in this rate. And when I was running it, I was able to see that it contains all the fractions, but it contains two string values. That means this new, that means the this restaurant is new, and this dash, yes, this dash. So my, now I have to remove the rows which is having this new and this dash, right? And this null value is also there, right? And I also have to remove this by 5. I just want a simple float value like 3.8, 3.7, right? So for that, I'm going to create a function which is going to be named as handle rate, right? So I have to handle this rate column from this function. So this function is going to contain a value. If this value is equal to new, or it is equal to this dash, then I have to return np.nan. That means I want to replace that new and dash with null value, because there are various methods to handle the null values. That's why I'm replacing this new and dash with the null value. And if it is not np.nan, if it is not new and dash, then I want to split that string value, split that string from dash, sorry, from slash. That means a splitting will be created at that slash point, and it will be a list. Now this list is going to contain two values, right? So what will happen, let me show you. So let's say this is a value. Now splitting is going to happen at this slash, and now a list will be there which will be containing two values, that is 2.2 and this 5, right? Now I am only interested in the 0th index of this list, that is 2.2 is present at 0 index. Now this 5 is present at first index. I don't want this 5, I want this value present at 0 index. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to create a value variable which will be now equal to value at 0, because this value was containing a list of 2.2 and 5, right? And I am only interested in 2.2. That's why value is equal to value at 0. And I'm going to return the float of this value. That means 2.2 will be returned. Now I'm going to apply this function on this rate. And when I was running a rate again, I was seeing that 4.1, 4.1, 3.8, 3.7, 3.8 is there. That means that by 5 is removed, and those new and dash were removed, were replaced by nan, right? Now I have to handle the null values, because null values are there in my rate column, right? Let me show you also. So df dot rate dot is null dot sum. So when I'm running it, I can see that 10,019 null values are there, right? So that's why I'm not going to remove these null values. I'm going to fill all these null values with the mean of that complete rate column, right? So that's why df at rate dot fill na with the mean of this rate, and in place will be equal to true. In place equal to true means I'm going to make some changes in the original data frame only. I don't want to create a new data frame. I want to make changes in my original data frame only. And when I was running this df at rate is null dot sum again, I can see that it is now 0. That means all these 10,019 null values are replaced with the mean of that complete rate column. Perfect. Let's run df.info now. And from here I can see that now I have to handle this location, because it is having null values, then this rest type, then this cuisines. So that's why I'm just going to drop these null values, because they are not having so many null values, right? So if they are not having so many null values, then I can just remove them, or I can drop them. That's why df dot drop na in place equal to true. And when I'm running the df dot head, now my columns are not having any null value. Perfect. So that means we have now handled the null values. Now it stands to, now we have to take every column and we have to analyze it, and we have to see if any outliers are there, or any if there are so many unique values in that column, then we have to handle it, right? That's why, first of all, I can see that this column is a lengthy name, right? Approximately cost for 2 people. And I don't want to write this column name every time. That's why I want to, and this one also listed in type. That's why I'm renaming these columns. And how I'm doing it? df.rename columns is equal to approximately cost for 2 people should be renamed as cost 2 plates. That means cost of 2 plates. And this listed in type, I'm renaming it as type, right? In place will be true. So let's run it. And when I'm running df.head, I can see that cost to plates and type. Perfect. Let's go further. Now, if I see my data frame, this name is there, right? Name of the restaurant is there. It will be a string. Online order and book table are just Boolean values. Yes, no, yes, no. Perfect. Then this rate, we have already handled it. We have cleaned this rate column, right? Now this votes column is there and this location is there. Now this location is having some names of the locations in Bangalore, right? So now I'm interested in finding how many unique values are there in this column. So df at location dot unique, when I'm running it, I can see that there are a lot of unique values and I can't work with so many unique values. And it may be a case that few locations are having only one or two restaurants. That's why what I'm doing, first of all, I'm doing one more thing, that is there are two columns, right? DF at listed in city and this DF at location. But I can work with only one column, right? Because they're both are containing some locations only. So what I can do, I can just remove any one of them. So when I was running a unique on this, I can see that there are a few locations. And when I run unique dot unique in this listed in city, and when I ran again, I can see that again it is containing that Bhanshankri and all those locations only. That's why listed in city and location both are there. Let's keep only one, right? So I am going to drop this listed in city and I'm going to keep this location. So let's run it. So my listed in city is dropped now, right? And it is having so many unique values that we will see what we can do. And now let's see the unique values in cost to plates, right? So let me run again over here only df.head. And yes, from here we are having this cost to plates, right? And when I ran the unique on this, I was able to see that there are some values which should not be there, like this. Every value is containing this comma. Now if it is containing a comma, that means this comma is restricting these values from becoming a integer, right? Now these values are strings. Now if this is a cost, it should be a float or it should be a integer, right? It should not be a string. That's why my motive is to remove this comma from every value, right? So for that I have to again create a function. So def handle comma is going to contain is going to take a value. If this value, if comma is present in this value, then I'm going to replace this comma with an empty, like with nothing, right? So that's why this comma will be gone. And I'm going to return the float of this value. And if the comma is not present in that value, like over here 300, comma is not there, then I just want to remove, just want to return the float of that value. I don't want to apply this replace function in that, right? And I'm going to apply this function on cost to plates. And when I run this unique again on cost to plates, I can see that every value is converted into float. Now my cost to plates column is also clean. I have worked on this column. So rate is clean, book table, online order is clean, then the cost to plates is also clean, right? Let's run df.head and let's see what are the columns. Name is there, online order is clean, book table is clean, rate is clean. Then location is containing so many unique values. We will see what we can do. Then this cost to plates is clean, right? Now we are left with rest type. We have not analyzed this one. We have not analyzed votes. We have to analyze this cuisines and we have to analyze this type also, type of restaurant. Let's work on them. So first of all, I want to clean this rest type of column, this rest type, where it is, yes, whether this restaurant is casual dining, quick bites or night bar, like that, right? So let's work on this rest type. So first of all, let's see what are the unique values. That's why I'm going to run a value counts. Let's run it over here first. df add rest type dot value counts. When I'm running it, I can see that it is also containing so many unique values, but there are few values which are containing so many less number of restaurants, like this sweet shop dessert parlor. It is having only one restaurant. So what can I do is I can make a cluster of all the values, all these unique names of the restaurant types, and I can make a cluster and name that cluster as other, right? All those restaurant types which are having only few restaurants, I can name it as others cluster, right? So let's do it. So all I'm considering like the maximum value is 19,000, right? So all the restaurant types which are having less than 1,000 restaurants, I'm going to make a list of it, right? So restaurant types less than 1000 is going to contain rest types. Now this rest types is a variable which is storing this list only. This complete list is stored in this rest types. Now in this rest types, all those rest types which are having less than 1000 values will be stored in this variable. Let me show you. Let's run this variable. Let's run this cell. Okay, we have not run this one first. We have to run it. Yes, now let's run this cell, and you can see that all the types of restaurants are there which are having less than 1000 restaurants. Right, now I can write a function, right, making rest types less than 1000 in frequency as others. So I want to make this as a cluster, and I'm going to rename it as others restaurant, right, other restaurants. So I'm writing a function handle rest types which is going to take a value. If this value is present in this list, right? So if a type of restaurant is passed to it, and if this type of restaurant is present in this list, I want to return others. Else I want to return a value. Perfect, right? And I'm going to apply this function on this rest type column. And when I'm going to apply it, and then I'm going to run this value count, I can see that now I'm having a few restaurant types, and you can see others over here, this others, right, which is having 9000 restaurants. Perfect. My data is becoming cleaner now, right? My data is getting cleaner. Perfect. Now let's run df.head and let's see which are the columns we have worked upon. Name is clean, online order is clean, book table is clean, rate is clean, location we are going to see rest type is now clean, cost to plates is clean. Now let's work on this location column, right? So let's run. So first of all, again, this location column, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did on restaurant types. Again, I'm going to see what are df at location dot value counts, and over here also I can see that there are so many values and few locations are having very less restaurants. Now again I can do the same thing. I can make a cluster of all those locations which are having very less restaurants. That's why I'm going to create again a variable which is going to store all those locations which are having less than 300 restaurants. So location less than 300 is equal to location which is having the same list. Location at location less than 300, and again I'm writing a function which is going to take a value. If this value is present in this list, that is less than 300 list, I'm going to return others. Else I want to return that value only, right? So I'm going to apply this function on this location column, and now when I run this value counts, I can see that these are the values, and you will be able to see others also. Others, yes, this one is the others. Now it's totally up to you whether you want to take 300, 500, 1000. It's totally up to you, but maximum value is 5000. That's why I took an average value and I took 1000, right? Okay. Let's again run df.head and let's see what are the columns we are left with. Online order, book table, rate, location we have cleaned it. Now this name is clean, online order is clean, book table is clean, rate is clean, votes we have to work on. Then this location is clean now, rest type is clean now. Then this cost to plates is clean now, and we have to work on cuisines, and we have to work on type. So this is a part of exploratory data analysis, right? You have to analyze each and every column one by one, and you have to remove the outliers, you have to remove the like some of the values, like string values are there in integer column, right? So you have to remove everything, right? So this is how you have to pick each and every column and you have to analyze it. So this is called exploratory data analysis, right? Because you can't provide the dirty data to your machine learning model. You have to clean that data and then you have to provide to a machine learning model. Then your accuracy will be high, right? So now let's clean this cuisines column. So when I run this again, same thing I'm going to do, because it is containing many values, many unique values, and few cuisines were having like 1 to 2 restaurants. That's why I'm going to apply the same thing. I'm not going to explain again. And over here I'm going to make a cluster of those cuisines which are having less than 100 values. So again I'm going to write a function. So if this value is present in this list, that is extinct cuisines list, then I'm going to return others. Otherwise, I want to return value. Apply this, and when I run again value counts, I can see that yes, I can see this others section, right? Perfect. Let's run df.head, and now only this one is left, type. So for that, it is already clean. That's why I've not worked on it. So df at type dot value counts, it is already having very less unique values, only this, and they are also having a very good amount of restaurants. That's why we can't just cluster them as others, right? That's why this section is also clean. Now my data is clean, data is clean. Let's jump to the visualization. So we have almost covered the exploratory data analysis. Now it's our turn to visualize our data, right? So first of all, let's see this two sections, that is this online order and book table, right? Okay, I have first of all I have plotted various locations, count plot for various locations. Okay, then I have visualized online order, no problem. So let's visualize it. So various locations, we have seen that there are so many locations. Let's see a count plot. Yes, now this is my count plot, and here I can see. Yes, and you will be thinking that what is this line? plt.xtrix rotation is equal to 90. I've already told you in my that graduate salary prediction, and when I'm going to run it without this line, I will be getting this type of xtrix where every data is like collided with each other. So I want to keep them separate. That's why I can rotate my xtrix. So let's do it. Let's run it again. And in this count plot, you can see that the maximum number of restaurants are present in this BTM location. Now, using this data analysis, we have come to a point that if I want to open a restaurant, I should not open it BTM because it is having so many restaurants, right? So I should not open a restaurant in BTM. If I want to open a restaurant, I should open it in like old airport road where there are already very few restaurants, right? So there are chances that my business will grow, right? And in St. Mark's road, I can open. But in this, like this, what we can say, this BTM, then this Koramgala fifth block, I should not open. Like this Whitefield, then Indrani Nagar, Indira Nagar. Yes, I should not open the restaurants, right? Because they are already having so many restaurants. So this was the importance of this visualization. Now let's move on to the second plot, that is visualizing the online order. So now I want to analyze how many restaurants are having the online order facility and how many of them are not having the online order facility. Let's run it. And I can see that most of the restaurants are having the online order facility and few of them are not having it, right? Now in the same way, I can visualize this book table, how many of the restaurants are having this book table facility and how many of them are not having this book table facility. Let's run it, and I can see that most of the restaurants are not having this book table facility, right? Perfect. So these were the few visualizations. Now I want to visualize online order and rate. So if my restaurant is having this online order facility, is the rate high? I want to visualize it. Let's run it. So I'm drawing a box plot, right? Let's run it. And using this box plot, I can analyze the restaurants which are having the online order facility. Their maximum rate is higher than this the restaurants which are not having this online order facility. Now what is this rate? This is not a price, right? This is not a price of the plate of the like food. It is rate, like voting people have given like feedback, right? The like at a rate of 5, 1 2 3 4 5, that is this rate, right? It is not a price if you would be having some doubt. So I can see that the restaurants who are having the online order facility, their maximum rating it is around 4.8, right? But the restaurants who are not having this online order facility, their maximum rating has gone only till 4.2 or 4.3. And this middle line is the average rating, so it is around same only. That's why we can't compare it, but their maximum rating, there is a difference. Perfect. Now let's analyze the same thing, visualizing this book table versus this rate. Rate is what? It is a rating given by the customers. So let's analyze it, and I can see that here comes a big difference. The restaurants who are having the book table facility, their average rating is higher than the restaurants who are not having the book table facility. That's why if I'm opening a restaurant, I should keep in mind that I should provide a book table facility because their average rating is high, right? Nice. Let's visualize the next thing, that is visualizing the online order facility location wise. If I want to open a restaurant in Bangalore and I want to open it online order facility restaurant, where should I open? I should open at that place where this facility is not there, right? That's why this thing is important. So what I'm going to do, here comes some tricky part and you have to focus on it. I'm going to group my data location wise, right? So df dot group by location and online order at name dot count. That means name is what? Name of the restaurant, right? So I'm going to I'm grouping my data location wise, right? And I'm going to create a new CSV for it. Location online.csv. Location and online order facility.csv. I'm going to read that CSV and here I'm going to create a pivot table. And if you don't know about pivot table, you have to this is a prerequisite. You should know what is a pivot table, right? Okay, if you don't know, still it is not a problem. When I will run it, you will be able to see what is a pivot table. Right, so in this pivot table, I am making a pivot table using this df1, right? So this df1 is containing this CSV file, and index will be location, columns will be online order, right? Let's run it, and then you will be no, then you will not be having any doubts. Yes, so this is called a pivot table where you can visualize or where you can analyze two columns like this. These are the locations, BTM, then Bhanshankari, then Banaswadi. These are the Church Street. These are the different locations, and these are the like in this location. That's it. So in this location, 1763 restaurants are those restaurants which do not provide the facility of online order, and 3293 restaurants are those which provide the facility of online order, right? So this is the significance of drawing a pivot table. Just by seeing this table, I can see that at which location the number of restaurants who provide online order facility are maximum, right? I can also visualize it using a plot. So for plotting it, I'm just df1 dot plot. I'm drawing a bar plot. Figure size is 15 by 8, and when I'm running it, now you will be able to see it. Yes, where it went. Yeah, just a second. Yes, from this plot, I am able to visualize that in BTM, this location, yellow line is reaching the highest. That yellow line is yes. So in BTM, already there are many restaurants who provide this online order facility, right? But in this location, like in this Lavel Road, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it is Lavel Road only. The yellow line is smaller than this blue line. That means more restaurants are those restaurants which do not provide the facility of online order. So if I want to open a restaurant which provide online order facility, I can open it in Lavel Road, right? Because there are not so many restaurants which provide the facility of online order. So there may be chances that my restaurant will grow, right? So this is how you have to take advantage of these visualizations. Now we have analyzed it using the point of online order. Now let's visualize it according to book table, location wise only. So I'm going to do the same thing. Here I'm creating df2, which will be a CSV file grouped by location and book table. So if I run it, I can again see that in BTM, 4,889 restaurants are those restaurants which do not provide the book table facility, and 167 restaurants are those restaurants which provide the facility of booking the table. So let's visualize it using the plot. So again, same thing, df2.plot, bar plot, let's run it. And using this bar plot, I can see that in BTM, many restaurants are those which do not provide the facility of book table. So if I want to open a restaurant which should provide book table, I can open it in BTM. But BTM is already having so many restaurants, so I should not open it there. I can open it in HSR, right? Because there also restaurants do not provide book table facility. So if you will open a restaurant which provide book table facility in HSR, there may be chances that your business will grow because business that competition is less for booking the table. If some couples want to book a table, they will be choosing your restaurant, right? Because many restaurants are not there which provide facility of booking the table. Perfect. So this is how you can become a good data scientist, by just analyzing each and every column with another column, right? Now let's visualize types of restaurants. We were having some types of restaurant, right? So let's visualize it and let's see what are the types of restaurants we are having. So this is the box plot and versus the rate, right? So I can see that the maximum average rating is given to this orange, drinks and nightlife. So this type of restaurant is given the maximum rating. So that means people are coming in these drinks and nightlife restaurants and they are rating these restaurants as very high. They are rating them higher, right? And this purple, that means its rating is average rating is minimum, which is delivery, right? So okay, so people are loving the drinks and nightlife restaurants and pubs and bars and buffets, right? So if you want to open a restaurant, you can go in this drinks and nightlife field, pubs and bar, you can open a bar, right? It's totally up to you, right? So this is how I have analyzed using a box plot type of restaurant and the average rating given by the customers, right? Perfect. Now I'm going to group these types of restaurant like buffets, then cafes, deliveries, dessert types, dine out, drinks and nightclub, bars and pubs, location wise. Like in which location in Banshankari or HSR, what was there? And I want to see that which type of restaurant is present in which location, the maximum and the minimum times, number of times, right? Let's do it. Yes. So again, same thing. Group your data by location and type, and then you have to create a CSV, then create a pivot table. And from here, I can see that in BTM, 21 buffets are there, 83 cafes are there, 3,000 delivery restaurants are there, and drinks and nightlife only 22 are there, pubs and bars 19 are there, right? And you can again plot it, and when I plotted it, I can see that yes. So if I want to open a pub and a bar, I should choose that location where pubs and bars are very few in number, right? So let's zoom it and we have to search for the green color, and I can see that yes, in Shivaji Nagar, green is very less, right? That means pubs and bars are not present in much quantity there, right? In much number. That's why if you want to open a pub and a bar, you can go for Shivaji Nagar, right? In Shanti Nagar also you can go. So this is how you have to analyze your data. Let's move on to the next thing. Yes, now we have to analyze in which location people are voting more, right? So number of votes and location. So again, same thing. We have what we are doing. I'm creating DF4, which will be having only two columns, location and votes, because I want to analyze in which locations people are interested in voting, because people's feedback is required, right? That's why I'm interested in which location people are interested in voting, right? So drop the duplicates and I'm going to group this df4 location wise and votes, and I'm going to find the sum, and when I run this cell I can see that yes, in Koramangala fifth block these many votes are given, in Indira Nagar these many votes are given, right? In Church Street these many rows are given, these many votes are given, right? So you can just let's plot it. So I'm plotting a bar plot, and again I'm going to rotate the x-axis by 90 degree, and when I run it I can see that, and these things you will not get in just by watching my video, right? You have to watch my video, then you have to code it along with me, then if you don't get anything you can analyze my kernel. So from here I can see that in Koramangala fifth block maximum number of voting is given. That means people in this Koramangala fifth block are interested in voting, they come and vote also, right? Then in Indira Nagar also people are interested, but in Shivaji Nagar people are not giving votes, maybe restaurants are less or people are not voting there, right? Okay, right. So if you will open a restaurant in this block, then you will get a very good customer feedback, right? So this is how you have to do it. Now I'm interested in which cuisine restaurant I should open. If I want to open a particular kind of cuisine restaurant, which one should I open? That's why I'm creating DF6, which will be containing two columns, cuisine and the votes, and I'm going to group it by cuisines and votes. Again, I'm going to sort it, and when I run it, I can see that let's forget the others. North Indian is having the highest number of votes, right? I don't think it is unusual that in South India, North Indian cuisine is given the highest number of votes. Uh, but it's the data, we can't do anything. And South Indian is getting the number third highest number of votes, right? So let's plot it. And yes, so what I'm doing, this ilog function, what is this ilog function? I don't want to take this others in my plotting, right? That's why I want to remove this others. That's why I'm going to start my df7 from index 1. So this is index 1, right? So I will be taking my plot from the North Indian. So let's run it. And when I run df7.head, I can see that others is removed, and my data frame is starting from North Indian. And then I can again plot a bar plot, and when I run it, I can see that yes, yes, North Indian maximum number of votes are given. Then North Indian and Chinese second highest. Then South Indian third highest. So this is how it is decreasing, right? So if you want to open a special kind of cuisine, go for North Indian or North Indian plus Chinese or South Indian. Perfect. So yes, this is our exploratory data analysis using the Zomato data set. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and till the next content, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.